Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. Pittsburgh had a ton of issues, obviously, in Thursday night's loss to the Minnesota Vikings, being down 29-0 before a furious comeback that came up just shy on the final play of the game. One of the issues offensively, probably the biggest issue offensively, was struggles in pass protection. Ben Roethlisberger sacked 5 times against the Vikings, the most he's been sacked in a single game since 2014 against the Bucks. So the question is, how was Minnesota so successful in getting pressure? And truthfully, for the most part, it was the same blitz, it was the same pressure principle that Pittsburgh struggled to adjust to consistently throughout the entire game. That's what we're going to look at today. And very broadly speaking, what Minnesota did on 9 of the Steelers' 13 third down passing plays was they would mug the A gaps. They would put the off ball linebackers in each A gap, walk them up right over and basically on the line of scrimmage, and either bring them and blitz them or drop into coverage. And so that's very broadly what I'm talking about. I want to put up a collage of photos here, and hopefully you guys can see it well enough of all 9 examples of the inside linebackers. Watch those guys, typically 55 and 54, that are, to the left and to the right of center Kendrick Green, mugging those A gaps, as we call it, or sugaring the A gaps, and kind of a staple of a Mike Zimmer coach team. He did that with Cincinnati. He's doing that now with Minnesota. And so that was the overall principle that they kind of created to really stress Pittsburgh's protections and built their whole pressure off of. And more specifically, what I want to talk about with Minnesota mugging those A gaps with the linebackers is the rain check, checking to a rain call, like I guess is how you could describe it. And I'm going to put up a photo here. This comes from the Belichick, Parcells, Saban coaching tree of what that rain check is. And essentially, whenever you mug the A gaps, whichever way the center turns to, that guy's going to drop. So if you're the linebacker to the left, for example, and the center turns your way in terms of the slide protection, you're going to drop into coverage. And the linebacker opposite of you, away from the slide, is going to blitz. And so you see that on the screen right now. That picture, by the way, comes courtesy of blitzology.com, a really long time resource for myself and many others. So check them out. So that photo comes credit from them. I believe that's from the Nick Saban playbook. And Mike Zimmer coached under Bill Parcells in the early 2000s when Parcells was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and Zimmer worked as the DC. And you're seeing some of those principles that came up on Thursday. So this rain blitz check where the center or the linebacker to the center slide is going to pop out and the opposite linebacker to the slide is going to blitz. And that's what you saw a lot on Thursday. And sometimes they would bring that, sometimes they would bluff it and drop out. But that was the overall idea of how Minnesota built their pressure on Thursday. So what we'll do with these next 3 clips, again, Ben sacked 5 times against the Vikings. The final 3 all came on third down, all against that mug rain blitz check that Zimmer was calling. And so we're going to look through each of those plays and see what went wrong and what was supposed to happen. And, obviously I'm not with the team, so I can't say this 100%, but I have a pretty good feel for what some of the blocking assignments were and where some of the failures occurred. So here's the first example, 3rd and 7 for the Steelers. And again, you're going to see that, as Ben called it, a double barrel or mug look here with both linebackers over the A gap here. You don't know who's coming and who's going to drop out. And I want to put up a photo here of kind of drawing out this pass protection. So it's going to be a 6-man protection here with the 5 offensive linemen and running back Najee Harris. And just generally speaking, whenever you kind of draw protections, the first thing you look at are the guys with their hands down, the guys that you expect and assume are going to come, the guys who get paid to pass rush. And so those are the 4 down linemen. And then from there, you're going to work with the center and the running back kind of taking, one of those linebackers up the middle. So let me post a photo here of how the protection should look, how it's designed here to stop the 6 most immediate threats, the 4 down linemen and the 2 linebackers mugging that A gap. And so we'll go through a player by player. Left tackle Dan Moore on the right defensive end, left guard John LeGlue on the right defensive tackle. We'll go to right guard Trey Turner on the left defensive tackle, right tackle Chukwuma Okorafor on the left defensive end, and then up the middle, which you'll see the protection is Kendrick Green sliding to his right here on the linebacker to his right, with Najee Harris taking the linebacker to his left between LeGlue and Kendrick Green. And you'll see there on the backside, Harrison Smith, he's hot. If he blitzes and everyone else comes, and basically even if they don't come, but if Harrison Smith blitzes there on the edge, that ball has to come out hot because there's nothing built into the protection that is there to pick him up. Everyone else has a job to do. Everyone else has a more immediate and pressing threat. And so if Smith comes, there's nothing in the protection. It's a six-man protection against those six guys that are on the line of scrimmage. And so there's no one to pick up Smith. So if he comes, that ball has to come out quick because there's no one in the scheme to account for him if he rushes. So let's go to the tape here and run this play through. And honestly, the line and the protection does as what it's asked to do. There's no issue up front on this play in terms of the offensive line or the running backs. And again, I want to show you the rain aspect of the blitz here. And so watch Kendrick Green. He's going to slide to his right, and so the linebacker to the slide side is going to pop out. It's that rain blitz check, and the linebacker opposite the slide is going to rush. That is the principle of this rain check from Belichick and Parcells Saban, and now Mike Zimmer. And so Najee Harris picks up his guy. Kendrick Green sliding to the right side. He's intentionally sliding to the right. He's not in the wrong there. That's his guy if he blitzes. But again, he pops out because of the slide and where it's turning towards. The other backside defensive end, he drops out. But again, that's not on a core four or Trey Turner. And so what happens here, as I mentioned, Harrison Smith is coming off the edge. They're overloading this side, and there's nothing in the protection that can pick up Harrison Smith. So this ball has to come out hot. It has to come out quick. Of course, the issue there being it is 3rd and 7, and so you're trying to let routes develop and guys get the sticks, and you have to usually take more time to convert on 3rd and 7 as opposed to 3rd and 2. If it's 2nd and 10, you got more downs to play with, and so just quite simply, this ball has to come out hot, and it does not, unfortunately. And so there's nothing built into the protection that can pick up Harrison Smith on this play because everyone else has a job to do and is carrying out their assignment. So to look at it here from the aerial view, again, this is a 3rd and 7 play. It's pretty well defended, but there's really nothing hot here for Ben to throw to. Everyone's trying to run to the stick. So honestly, this is just really good scheme by Minnesota that really overloaded and kind of wrecked Pittsburgh's protection. The next two clips, the next two sacks allowed, though, are miscommunication and wholly within the control of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so I'm going to put up a photo again of the blocking schemes pre snap as I did in the first clip. And again, 6-on-6 protection here for Pittsburgh. And so again, I'll read through things. Left tackle Dan Moore on the right defensive end. Left guard Rashard Coward, who played a couple snaps in place of John LeGlue on the right defensive tackle. Skipping over to right guard Trey Turner, he's on, the left defensive tackle, and right tackle Chukwuma Okorafor is on the left defensive end with Kendrick Green on the linebacker to his right. He's sliding to the right on this play, and Najee Harris here supposed to be going to the left here on the linebacker 54, who ends up mugging this A-gap here in a moment. And again, I have the guy circled here, this other defensive back who does blitz on this play. He is hot. There was nothing in the protection, as was the case with Harrison Smith in the first example, to pick up that blitzer. So those are your 6-man protection against those six guys. The 4-down linemen, the most immediate threats that offensive linemen are always going to pick up. And then the 2 linebackers here who ultimately mug and sugar up into those A-gaps. And what happens here is some miscommunication between center Kendrick Green and running back Najee Harris in terms of which way Green is sliding. And I'll run this thing through, and Harris just a tick late on it, but it appears he's a little unsure about which side he's supposed to pick up. If you think back to that first clip we showed, Harris was aligned to the left side, and he picked up the linebacker to his left. He never really crossed where Green was at in terms of Harris didn't go from the left side alignment to picking up the linebacker across from him to the right. In this example, though, Green is sliding to the right, and Harris needs to come to his left, as we showed in that first example. And so on the snap here, it looks like Harris initially thinks he's picking up the linebacker right here, and Green's going to slide to his left here and pick up the linebacker here. Or the defensive tackle, and Coward's going to pick up the linebacker because he's not mugging in the A gap here. In this case, he's in the B gap. But based on where Green slides, that tells me that Harris needs to come to his left here and pick up the linebacker here. Coward's going to pick up the D tackle because Harris is not going to pick up the D tackle. And so it's sliding to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left. This is kind of the man side. This is more the zone side. And Harris is going to pick up the linebacker here, but he's a little bit late there. He's initially going to his right, and by the time he sees it, he cannot pick up the linebacker in time, who gets a free run at Ben and sacks him. And then number 24 does come in on the blitz anyway, so he was hot. And so even if Harris does pick him up, 24 is going to come free here. Again, not accounted for in the protection. So I know it looks bad here when you see Green and Turner and all those guys kind of bunched up here. Again, the defensive end drops out here. This is the away side as they bring the blitz to the opposite side. They're overloading this side here, but everyone else does their job right on this play. It's Harris who's a bit slow to recognize he's coming across here to pick up the linebacker here, and this guy's a free rusher. There's no way to pick him up. There's nothing built into the protection aside from throwing the ball hot there to pick him up, and that's what creates the free rusher. So I know this looks really bad when you see Coward and Green and Turner on one guy, and I totally get that. And I'm sure someone will argue that something else should happen on this play. But if you think about what the pre-snap assignment is here, those guys did their job. Believe it or not, I know it does not look like that. It's Harris that's just a little off here on the miscommunication about which way the center is going to slide. It kind of felt like Harris thought that Green was going to slide to his left. Green slides to his right, and it makes him late to pick up the linebacker here. And then again, the second defensive back here coming in is free just based on the inability to pick him up because they're going to bring potentially, an overload here where there's just no way to pick that up unless you kept the tight end in, and they did not. And this is again a third down play here for the Steelers. This is going to be a 3rd and 11, and so they're bringing pressure, knowing the ball probably won't come out quick here because they're trying to let routes develop here for the Steelers. Last example on the last Roethlisberger sack of the day comes on 3rd and 6. Slightly different protection or 7-man protection this time. And so again, I'm going to throw up a photo here, courtesy of my great Microsoft Paint skills over here to show you guys how this thing is drawn up. And this thing's again supposed to be well protected. Pittsburgh has enough blockers here to pick up the blitzers. You got a 7-man protection against a potential 7-man blitz here on this play. So to draw this thing up again, Zach Gentry staying as part of the pass protection on this play. He'll take the right defensive end. Dan Moore here on the right defensive tackle. John LeGlue's kind of working as a little bit of a floaty kind of a guy here. In my sense, he's kind of uncovered here, but kind of working on the linebacker. He's going to slide to his right, take a step down. Center Kendrick Green on the linebacker here to his right. Right guard Trey Turner on the left defensive tackle, and right tackle Chokuma Okorafor on left defensive end with Najee Harris. They're taking the running back across. Again, Green's going to slide to his right, and Harris is going to slide to his left and probably get some help from LeGlue. So there is no need for a hot on this play because Pittsburgh has enough to pick up all their blitzers. Maybe if Harrison Smith to the far right there would have blitzed, then that would have made the throw hot. But overall, this should be picked up on this play. So I run this thing through, and again, you're going to see kind of that rain check here from the linebacker to the right. As Green slides to his right, you're going to see the linebacker come and kind of touch and then back out because the center's sliding his way. Although in this play, the other linebacker away from the slide pops out as well. Maybe because the glue came down and the protection's a bit different. I'm not 100% sure the reason there, but it's that kind of cat and mouse game. And so I run this thing through, and you're seeing miscommunication here between center Kendrick Green and right guard Trey Turner. And honestly, I put this squarely on Trey Turner, not on Kendrick Green, but I just say Green because it feels like Turner thinks the slide's going to go to the left and Green is sliding to his right. And so you'll see on the snap here, Green is sliding to his right and Turner taking his first step here to the left. And they end up doubling to the linebacker here who ends up dropping out. And that allows the left defensive tackle to come in free, which should be Turner's responsibility. Again, Harris on the linebacker here to the left. And so there's no one all of a sudden to account for number 90, Sheldon Richardson, who has a free shot on Ben and the sack. And I can't understand why Trey Turner would slide to his left because if he was sliding to his left and was correct, then who's going to pick up the right or the left defensive tackle on this play? Core has the defensive end. Harris has the linebacker here. So who on earth would pick this guy up? It's not going to be Harris because Harris does not get paid to pick up defensive tackles in pass pro on 3rd down. It should be Turner. So there was just miscommunication on this play about which way the slide was going. For some reason, that's not totally clear to me, and that allows a free rusher. And so again, I know it looks bad in the sense of all these guys, not really blocking anybody. I mean, literally, look, Glue and Green and Turner aren't blocking anybody, and then Harris is not either, for that matter. But this is to me squarely on Trey Turner there for miscommunication. You see Green kind of look at him like, which way were we going on this play? Hands on the face there for Kendrick Green. I did not put that on him. I think he was right on this play there based on the slide. And Turner, I can't understand why he would slide to his left here. I don't know who he thought was picking up Richardson on this play, and he gets a free shot at the quarterback. But just overall, it's kind of that miscommunication, that chaos, and if one guy fails, they all fail mentality that comes with the offensive line. Everyone else can do their job right, but if one guy does his job wrong and incorrectly or misses an assignment, then the play is going to be a bust. I do want to show one example of the protection being carried out correctly against this mug look and not allowing immediate pressure on the play there was in the other three examples we looked at. So this is earlier in the game, a third down, and I'll put up a photo here of the assignments. Again, six-man protection to go through it one by one. Left tackle Dan Moore on the right defensive end. Left guard John LeGlue on the right defensive tackle. Kendrick Green here is going to be on the linebacker to his immediate left, number 54. Najee Harris on the linebacker, to his A gap, number 55. Right guard Trey Turner on the left defensive tackle, and right tackle Chukwuma Okorafor on the left defensive end. So six-man protection to block six guys. It's all blocked up here pre-snap. Should not be an issue. And unfortunately, on this play, it was not an issue. So to run this thing through, this thing's picked up well enough. Again, this is the rain check here from Minnesota. The center green is going to slide to his left, so 54 is going to pop out and look for anything hot here because the center is sliding his way while the linebacker opposite the slide is going to come. And Najee Harris is forced to pick up number 55, which he does on this play. So this thing's blocked up the way it should be. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of pressure here. Harris kind of gets run back here on 55's bull rush, and Dan Moore has a soft edge here against 98. But from a conceptual assignment standpoint, another third down play. This was like 3rd and 18. I think they had the shallow crosser for 7 to Deontay Johnson. But conceptually, schematically, this is picked up the way it should be. And so again, you see 54 watch him as a center slides. He's going to just kind of pop him and touch him, and then pop out and look for something hot, look for something quick here on this play, and they throw short here to Deontay Johnson. But that's how it's designed. And so this thing, Pittsburgh was capable of picking up most of these blitzes in this game. The hot stuff, the overloads from Harrison Smith, that's not built into the protection. There were truly some miscommunication breakdowns. That was probably the biggest issue in this game, was Pittsburgh not communicating well enough for just one guy not knowing or understanding his assignment. And that led to some crucial breakdowns that led to 5 sacks for Ben, including 3 on third down, all against this mug rain look from the Vikings. So that's essentially what happened. And hopefully I broke it down and explained it well enough for you guys. So the 3 sacks we looked at from Thursday, 3 of the 5, I would put 1 on Trey Turner, 1 on Najee Harris, and 1 just on good Minnesota scheme. And so I know things looked really ugly, but if you really break down what things were supposed to be, executed pre-snap, and then I think it really kind of clears up what things were supposed to happen, post-snap, and who failed and why they failed. And so Minnesota just kept doing the same thing over and over again. It reminded me a lot of what the late Eagles DC Jim Johnson did to Pittsburgh back in '08, and it really exploited Pittsburgh's protection. Although in that game, Pittsburgh simply did not have a good answer in terms of protections at all for the one blitz, so it was a little bit different. Pittsburgh had answers in this game, for the most part at least, but there was just some really poor execution up front. And again, that's coming from Turner and Harris and other pressures. I didn't even show in this video. There were similar breakdowns and issues. So hopefully that cleared things up. It's tough to deal with that mug and again sugared linebackers, because it really does stress your protection, and you don't know who's coming and who's going. Those guys can drop and blitz and stunt, and they can bring overloads from the edges, as Minnesota did in this game with some of their DBs. And so it's not easy to deal with, but Pittsburgh was capable to deal with it. And just from an execution standpoint, largely this team failed. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully it kind of was maybe a little cathartic to go through some of these plays and see exactly why they failed, and not just kind of throwing your hands up and saying they're all bad, because there's a lot more nuance and layers to it. But it certainly is a lot to handle and process. And so hopefully we walked through it well enough, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. So if you did, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe if you guys have not done so already, and we'll talk to you soon.